This sound was like a spiritual ritual and a clear sign of the sacred union of the Gema communities. The Akamba community has now been officially welcomed into Gema. They donned their traditional attire, danced to the rhythms of their cultural songs, and most importantly, prayed for the unity of the communities to remain strong.
Oil so that it is clean, ritually clean.
Although the event was intended to welcome the Akamba community and its leaders with an emphasis on non-political disclosure, President Ruto's government came under heavy scrutiny. Decisions such as the SHA scheme and the controversial Adani contracts were heavily criticized, with attendees expressing dissatisfaction with the government's direction.
Naona kama president ndiye roho ya ndio inapiga damu. Damu ni parliament, ni senate na wale wa county assembly. Ndio damu. Ndio damu. Damu ya mtu ikiwa chafu, roho haiwezi kupiga.
Kenyans really must grant only a certain level of responsibility to government for their normal welfare. It takes rolling up our sleeves, working very hard, utilizing the opportunities that are available to improve our welfare.
The Gema Union was initially established to address the needs of the Kikuyu, Embu and Meru communities of Eastern Kenya who share close linguistic and cultural ties. The union was officially banned in 1981, though it is believed to have continued operating informally. Since 2003, there have been several attempts to revive it.
As we celebrate this unity, we promise that the Akamba will fully and effectively be integrated, and they have been integrated in all the governance levels and organs, starting from branches to the national level.
The partnership comes at a time when Mount Kenya's political future is unclear, and this event could be a sign of deeper political changes ahead. Majibu Kitao for K24 TV, Nairobi.
Now, members of the mediation committee on the county government additional allocations bill drawn from the National Assembly and the Senate were today engaged in a heated, from the National Assembly were today engaged in a heated debate with their Senate counterparts over mediation of the bill. The lawmakers demanded the withdrawal of a court case on the road maintenance levy filed by the Council of Governors before proceeding with mediation on the new bill. However, the team, after deliberation, reached an agreement to continue with the mediation on other issues, top among them the allocation to community health promoters.
We can say the one.
The 18-member committee, comprising members from the National Assembly and the Senate, has failed to reach an agreement on the County Government Additional Allocations Bill of 2024.
Case for trial.
The mediation comes after the National Assembly slashed the allocation approved by the Senate by 15.4 billion. The Senate earmarked funds for road maintenance and other county projects, but the Assembly slashed 10.5 billion from the road maintenance levy and 4.9 billion due to budget rationalization. During the mediation, National Assembly members called for the talks to be adjourned, insisting that the Council of Governors withdraw a court case on the road maintenance levy, which has become a central issue.
It will be improper for us to proceed while this matter is actively before court. And we collapse this bill and cost counties 42 billion of additional proceeds from loans because of museums.
However, Homa Bay Senator Otieno Kajwang objected, emphasizing the mediation should continue, denying claims that senators were defending county executives.
We are not here to represent governors. COG is a club of governors. You know that we have a challenge and a problem with it in the Senate. So it cannot be put on record that the Senate has come here to represent or defend the Council of Governors. I beg that we proceed. If we find there is a grant where we are disagreeing on, we are ready to look at the issues and find a common ground. But let us not punish the people in counties because of a disdain for their governors.
Not agreeing within the next 30 days, it basically means we have no SIGA in Kenya.
The issue of control over the road maintenance levy has sparked controversy, with accusations that MPs are seeking control over the fund, drawing criticism from figures like ODM leader Raila Odinga. Senators also raised concern about the risk of losing funds from loans and grants for counties if mediation fails.
We collapse this bill and cost counties 42 billion of additional proceeds from loans because of museums.
What happens to the funds that were to be submitted by the donors? Do they go back and we still pay the charges?
There are also worries about the impact on community health promoters' stipends, which are included in the bill.
The discussion of county aggregation, the KIPs, the construction of headquarters, all of that, are those matters active before the court?
No, those matters
is the discussion of that matter by this mediation committee sub judice? That is my question.
Matters are not sub judice.
Thank you.
The committee has 30 days to conclude the mediation and submit a report, with the next session scheduled to continue discussions on other crucial aspects of the bill.
We adjourn, and the earliest we can sit should be tomorrow.
Still on matters, funds under the Kenya Medical Supplies Authority found itself on the spot today as it struggled to respond to questions about the Auditor General's report for the financial year 2019-2020. Appearing before the Public Investments Committee, KEMSA's CEO faced tough scrutiny over the authority's governance and alleged mismanagement of funds during the COVID-19 pandemic, which reportedly led to the loss of 1.6 billion Kenya shillings in procured stock. As Brian Amoy reports, KEMSA admitted to owning parcels of land across the country, yet lacking title deeds to prove ownership.
An Auditor General's report for the 2019-2020 financial year, dating back to the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, has once again exposed the challenges facing the Kenya Medical Supplies Authority. Appearing before the Emmanuel Wangwe-led Public Investments Committee, KEMSA's management was hard-pressed to explain how 1.6 billion Kenya shillings worth of procured stock remains unaccounted for out of a total expenditure of 7.6 billion. The committee sought clarification from KEMSA's CEO, who offered little to no tangible information to satisfy the queries posed by the committee members. The Auditor General's report also revealed gaps in KEMSA's asset management. The authority listed properties including plant and equipment worth over 6 billion shillings and parcels of land valued at 158 million shillings across the country. However, KEMSA lacked the title deeds necessary to confirm ownership of these properties. In response, the authority acknowledged the issue, stating that it had engaged a conveyancing expert to expedite the acquisition of the required title deeds. On the matter of distribution, KEMSA faced further questions about costs amounting to 772,369,557 for the year ending June 30th, 2020. This included an overpayment of 19,352,250 Kenya shillings to a supplier under a courier services contract signed on September 24, 2016, for the distribution of medical supplies to the health facilities nationwide. The overpayment had yet to be recovered. The report also highlighted significant violations of public finance regulations during the COVID-19 emergency procurement. According to Section 42B of the Public Finance Management Regulations 2015, public funds must be used solely for their intended purposes. However, KEMSA procured COVID-19 stocks worth 5,639,656, which were later held and not distributed for emergency use as intended. The authority will again appear before the committee on Thursday for further questioning. It is an institution that is not new to controversy, and now the authority is being put to task to answer questions that have been raised by the Auditor General's report, laying bare the mismanagement of funds during the COVID-19 period. Brian Amoy, K24, Nairobi.
Well, thank you very much, Brian Amoy. Now, the Evangelical Alliance of Kenya has called for a national convention to address pressing issues affecting the country through consensus-driven solutions to restore health services, reform the education system, and provide genuine economic relief for Kenyans. The alliance also put the government on the spot for breaking promises it makes without communicating reasons. David Kagina with more.
To the statement by the Kenya Conference of Catholic Bishops that sparked mixed reactions across government agencies, the Evangelical Alliance of Kenya has joined the critique, saying the government's performance fails short on many fronts.
When you build a nation on trust, a nation on truthfulness, on honesty, then things move, as opposed to when we have promises that are not fulfilled.
The evangelical churches are of the opinion that the government has done little to ease the economic strain on taxpayers while increasing taxation and debt.
We plead for the sincere conversation as a country on what can be done to address the economic pain the people are feeling. Even though inflation has gone down, bringing down prices of certain commodities like fuel, sugar, and edible oils, this has not brought significant impact on the cost of living of families.
Highlighting the turmoil in CBC, especially in junior secondary schools, and the flawed university funding model, the Alliance warned of regression if urgent reforms are not implemented.
The government must consider that without a working education ecosystem from primary to the university level is one way of retrogression.
The clerics also raised critical questions about human rights violations, saying all is not well. They also say the country is polarized, courtesy of the political class.
If government does not uphold the constitution and the laws of the land, we will be inviting anarchy and disintegration of law and order in the country.
We can tell that the country is neither united nor cohesive. We are sharply divided along ethnic, economic, generational, religious, and even along gender lines.
To address these issues, the EAK proposed the National Convention that will bring together stakeholders and citizens to discuss and develop solutions. The alliance also criticized the government's failure to constitute the IEBC 2 years after its dissolution. However, they did acknowledge some positive developments, including recent reduction in fuel and food prices. David Kagina, K24, Nairobi.
At People Daily, we believe small actions lead to monumental changes. As we commit to a greener future, embrace simple steps, reduce, reuse, and recycle. It's time to go green. Kua Green. Switch off unused lights, opt for reusables over disposables, and support eco